Here again with another Walking Dead Daryl Dixon episode review video, as I was able to watch the episode early on the Amazon Prime AMC channel. Before I get into that though, pretty important, if you are caught up to the point where I am and you're watching The Walking Dead Daryl Dixon, or you're just not entirely sure, then you definitely need to take the initiative and pay attention to the episode's title, which of course I'll mention, as well as put in the description. If that happens to be the case, you found out that you're not caught up, it would be my recommendation that you don't watch this video any further to avoid any potential spoilers. For those of you that are wondering, I love The Walking Dead. It is my favorite show of all time. I've reviewed every single episode of the main Walking Dead show on this channel, and with about 20 seconds left to go in this video, I'll put my Walking Dead series finale episode review video titled Rest in Peace right here, again with about 20 seconds left to go in the video. I've reviewed and watched all the episodes of Dead City. I will continue to do that. Obviously, here with Daryl Dixon, I'll continue to watch all those until the show ends. I also do watch Fear the Walking Dead, even though I don't do review videos on it. So if you have questions about Fear the Walking Dead, I know we only got 6 more episodes left to go. Certainly you can ask those questions. I have yet to watch The Walking Dead World Beyond. That's the one show I haven't watched. I do intend to watch it, and it might be pretty soon here. Probably after Daryl Dixon's over, while I'm watching Fear the Walking Dead's final 6 episodes. So if you're a fan of The Walking Dead, you're in the right place. Hulk smash the like button, and of course, subscribe to the channel. With that in mind, this will be The Walking Dead Daryl Dixon Season 1, Episode 5. The title of this episode is called Deux Amours. And this will be my review, reaction, recap after just finishing watching the episode. And of course, with this being set in Europe, it's a little hard to understand some of the accents, and there's a lot of subtitles. So I might be saying some things wrong. Some of the stuff just doesn't stick in my head. I'll know it at one point, and then I'll forget it. So if I say something incorrectly, I apologize. Just some of these names are hard to get. I'm not used to saying these things with an accent or French stuff. So anyway, we start off with Laurent. He seems to be enjoying his boat ride. And this episode goes from the past, how Daryl got to Europe, and then like the current time zone. So just to let you know, Daryl is talking to Aslan about the nest, and he says that Laurent will be safe at the nest. Aslan asks Daryl how he ended up in France. We see Daryl walking his bike, and a man approaches, and I really like this actor. I don't know who it is off the top of my head, but I am a fan of whoever that is. We didn't get a lot of time with this guy, but he takes them to Daryl to this like salvage yard place or garage place or whatever it is, and there's a bunch of guys looking for potentially women or something. I'm not exactly sure where they were going with that. Because of the flipping back and forth, it might have been a little bit hard to understand. But they said no young ones, of course. And then we go back to the present time. Daryl asks Aslan how much further, and he says 124 miles. American thing. Daryl captures some walkers for the men. One of the guys says, "Not bad, friend. It's almost time for prayer in the present time." Aslan says Allah has him on a schedule. Daryl tells Laurent, "We aren't at the Abbey anymore. You've got to take care of yourself." Laurent asks him about his friends, since he knows all of his, and Daryl tells him that life isn't fair. Just ask the fish that Laurent just caught. So Daryl does mention Judith and RJ. They're your age. Connie, Ezekiel, and a lady named Carol. And then we go to Isabel waking up in a very nice, comfy bed for the zombie apocalypse. Isabel prays, and then Quinn comes in, and Quinn gave Isabel drugs to keep her resting while he took care of some things. And then Aslan prays while Daryl and Laurent talk. He tells Laurent, sometimes you've got to do things you don't want to do, as sometimes you don't have a choice. And then Isabel finds a sharp object and prays for what she's going to do. Laurent prays for Daryl and his friends, since Daryl doesn't know how to do so. Aslan has a pocket watch, just like Glenn, or it was actually technically Herschel's. And Daryl says he thinks he's the only one that he knows that still uses one of those things. And Aslan says it actually saved his life. It gave him purpose when his family died, and then when he he fixed the pocket watch that wasn't working. But then I don't know where I'm going off on that. Aslan says when he first got to the nest, he had just lost his wife and son. And Daryl, in the past, when he's on his way to Europe, helps a younger fella chop some wood. Quinn, in the present time, visits Isabel again. He says to her he knows he's made some mistakes. I can be a better man for you. And then Isabel starts making out with Quinn, and she has her sharp object. And I wasn't really sure what she was going to do with that, but I think she was going to kill Quinn. But she doesn't. Quinn says he believes in redemption. And again, she had that object, but she didn't do anything with it. Anna has showed up, and things, sees that, Quinn, or she thinks that Quinn and Isabel got it on. And then back in the past, before Daryl got to Europe, Daryl uses the man's radio that kind of is like the head of this garage salvage yard place. And he actually reaches Carol on the man's radio. He tells her that he's in Maine on the coast, and Daryl tells her he's gathering up some fuel and he'll be back in a week. Now, Carol mentions something about somebody coming back, and we don't find out who that is. Is that Rick? Like, Rick's already made his way back to Alexandria or the Commonwealth? That's very interesting. Of course, it cuts out before she's able to say who. Or maybe, just maybe, Heath finally made his way back. Now, that would be great. I don't know if we'll see Corey Hawkins in the Walking Dead universe again, but we definitely need some closure on that character. Hell, Morales came back after frickin' 7+ seasons, so I hope Heath at least comes back, or they find out without certainty what happened to him. Or maybe Jadis came back, or Annie, or whatever hell you want to call her. Anyway, Daryl tells her that he's gathering up some fuel and he'll be back in about a week. And then a walker in the present time comes for Daryl and Laurent in the middle of the night. And then Daryl takes care of the walker, goes outside the tent-ish area, wherever the hell they were in, and he sees that Aslan was bitten. He tells Daryl to get the boy to the place, and he gives Daryl his pocket watch and tells him to be aware of telephone poles, because what happened is Aslan tripped on a telephone pole, and that's how the walker got him. So be aware of telephone poles. How humor is God to have that happen to him when he's been a badass all this time. So we don't see it, but Aslan tells Daryl, take care of me with my knife, and I guess he must have done it, and then he buries him the next morning, and then we see that the boat has disappeared. And Laurent has cut the rope that was holding the boat ashore. So the boat, of course, sailed away. And Daryl yells at Laurent, why would you do this? He tells him, everyone he cares, and Laurent tells him everyone he cares about is gone. And when we get to the nest, you go too. I don't want to be alone. As you know, Daryl's job now is to get Laurent to this nest place, as Aslan said. And I don't want to be alone, like I said, he mentioned. So Daryl hugs Laurent and says, sorry, I didn't mean it. And then Laurent asks Daryl, why can't he come with him? And we go back to the past time, before Daryl got to Europe. And the kid that Daryl helped out chopping the wood has turned. And Daryl says there's rope marks around his neck. Like, he wasn't just bitten, he was turned by somebody. He thinks it's this Juno character. I think that's what his name was. So Daryl isn't too happy. He kind of took a liking to the kid, although he didn't give him much help, because the kid wanted to be like traveling buddies with Daryl. And then the present time, Daryl gives Laurent the pocket watch and tells him to go. Like, you said that you would do what I told you to do. This is what I want you to do. So go, follow this trail. And Daryl is captured by some men in the past, or no, that's the present. And they're about to take care of Daryl, and then Laurent comes back to save Daryl because they knew that Daryl knew where Laurent was, or at least where he was heading. And Quinn has a necklace for Isabel, a very nice necklace, might I add. And Quinn has been invited by Madame Genet for something to speak to her. And Isabel tells Quinn, let's start over. And then Isabel goes with Quinn to see Madame Genet. And outside by this place that she's at, you see Falou and his people like waiting in line there. And then Isabel sees that Madame Genet has Daryl as a prisoner. So she actually locks Quinn up as well for lying to her about where Laurent was. And Madame Genet does not fuck around. And this is where the episode gets pretty crazy. Like before it was like, but it gets pretty crazy. But Madame Genet also has Laurent. And Isabel tells Laurent he must do what she asks. And Madame Genet says there's no choice. Now, it shows getting Daryl taken on the boat from where Maine was to the boat to get to Europe. And then one of the prisoners gets fed to walkers as Daryl looks worried on the boat. And then the present time, Daryl is taken out of his cell for lunchtime. And we're led to believe it's Daryl's lunchtime, but no, it's not Daryl's lunchtime. And then we have Madame Genet speaking to the crowd. She goes on, and reading. I didn't want to read what she was saying, so I was kind of tuning out her words and wasn't paying attention to the subtitles. And then in the past, on the boat, Daryl fakes puking and the mic turning to get out of his cell on the boat as the guy he was with, the guy that may have killed the one kid, says, "Oh, I don't want to be in this place when he turns," and that's the Juno character. So when Daryl's taken to the pit with a bunch of walkers, Daryl kills the men about to feed him to those walkers, and then he lets Juno out of the cell as their diversion, their plan worked. And then we have Madame Genet is still rambling this whole time during all this, like she's talking as all these events have. And then Juno gets killed by a pretty crazy variant walker, a walker that certainly does not fuck around. And then Daryl is in this pit in the present time and is given a weapon by Madame Genet, or actually should say he's given a weapon, like a double-sided axe. And Madame Genet, all that talking is finally done. I'm not exactly sure all the stuff that she said, but I'm sure it was important, maybe. And Daryl has to fight the variant walker, which that's why it's lunchtime for the variant walker. Daryl jumps off the boat, so he's dealing with a variant walker on the boat in the past, and he's dealing with a variant walker currently in the present time. So, and this variant walker is the one that killed Juno, and Daryl just jumped ashore because he kept hitting it with a big thing, and the thing just kept getting back up, and it's like, okay, I'm done with that, I'm out of here. And then back to the pit, the variant walker is shot with a dart of sort, like some kind of tranquilizer or something, and it makes the thing go crazy. It's like got a lot of rage now, and then they're kind of holding the walker by with these poles, or I don't know what it is exactly, but they're directing him, and then they let those off of him, and then the variant walker goes and charges Daryl, and that's what ends the episode. So pretty crazy episode towards the end. Before then, I was kind of like, all right, when I hate reading these subtitles. It really annoys me, and I apologize. Like, these reviews, I feel like aren't the best because of all the information that is given that I just don't feel like reading. But I have to give the episode a 10 out of 10 for the last 15 minutes. The episode is pretty crazy. Character of the episode, I'm going to give it to, obviously, Daryl Dixon is the character of every episode of this show because it's Daryl Dixon's show, and Isabel a lot of times. I'm going to give the character of the episode to Aslan. He was a very good character, and it pisses me off that they've already killed him off, unfortunately. And we got the series finale or I should say the season finale of this show coming up next week. So we lost one. I don't know if Quinn is going to make it, and actually if Carol is coming to the show in season 2, I would only think that they would kill off Isabel. Maybe she'll do a sacrifice for Laurent. I don't know, but this episode was definitely a 10 out of 10 for the variant Walker stuff at the end of the episode. So you've heard everything that I have to say. I've rambled long enough. If you're a fan of The Walking Dead and you want to help me out with the YouTube algorithm and all the other Walking Dead shows, make sure you Hulk smash the like button, share the video with a friend, put this video on any one of your social media platforms. Don't forget to sound off in the comment section about what your thoughts are on this episode of The Walking Dead Daryl Dixon. Who would be your character of the episode, and what would you rate this episode? Anything from a 0 to 10. I was leaning like 8.5 out of 10, but it certainly got to a 10. Remember to click right here for my Walking Dead series finale review video, as well as other stuff that I'll put. And then last but certainly not least, don't forget to hit that sub button. You're watching the video anyway. Subscribe to the channel, join the team, show your damn support, and be a part of something special. And JDev will return.